Hello and welcome to Makers.dev, episode number 84. Chris, I heard you got COVID, and I'm sorry.
I did, and I was about to cough right when you said that. Yeah, remember that lovely vacation that I went on a couple weeks ago? Pretty sure I got COVID there.
Oof.
So, yeah, I am recovering, or mostly recovered. It was 2 days of really bad, and then a few days of blech, and now I'm mostly better. Although I definitely feel like more mentally and physically tired more easily.
Yeah.
Noticing that, but yeah, mostly okay. My wife and I both got it. The kids didn't. We isolated from them, which was tricky, isolating two parents from two kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't get it, and we actually just tested them, and they're still negative. So because they start school on Wednesday, so we really didn't want to give it to them. So we were very careful. Yeah. So
Well
far
done.
so good.
That's a effort. That's a
Yeah.
to not give it to your kids. That's good.
I know, yeah. Our 9-year-old can do they both can use the microwave, and they both can. So we sort of directed them from on top of the stairs, about what to do. But it worked out.
Have like a walkie-talkie system or like FaceTime them from downstairs. That sounds pretty similar to how COVID was for Sarah and I. Did either of you lose your smell or feel?
It's actually really weird. So I can't smell some things at all. I can smell some things at like 100%, and most things are at like 10%. So I lost a lot of smell. But it took a while. So it's different than what I've heard other people. So it took a while, and then I noticed food tasting weird, and so I started smelling things. And so my wife is taking this cough syrup, which is like really powerful fake orange, and I can't smell that at all. But then I was taking like NyQuil, which is like fake cherry flavor, and I could smell that at like 100%. And so very strange. Yes, but. Coffee is bitter water right now, which is sad, and other things. But so we'll see. Hopefully,
I was amazed.
It all comes back.
The first time I got it, I like totally lost my smell, and it was such a strange human experience of realizing how much I depend on smell for so many different things. I remember really vividly, like the moment I realized I had COVID, I was having tom kha soup. It's this Thai soup with lemongrass in it. And I remember eating it and being like, wow, they really like didn't season it very well because you can barely taste the lemongrass. In fact, can I taste any lemongrass in this? This is a very bland soup. There's like no flavor in this. Hold on just a second. Did I smell anything? And then I went and like smelled the dish soap, and like I was so excited because I had felt like trash for like all that day and a little bit of the day before. And I thought it was just really bad allergies. And so I was like, I haven't figured out allergies yet, and this sucks. But then when I realized it was COVID, I was like, I have an explanation for it. Like, this is great. Like, now I know that, this is the thing the entire world's been freaking out about for several months. So it felt okay to have an explanation for, like, what was going on. But then the second time I got it just a month ago, I didn't lose my smell at all. Sarah lost hers for, like, a day and a half, and then it immediately came back. But I kind of miss it. Like, it's a cool experience. It's like an altered perception. You get to see the world from a different perspective of like, oh yeah, coffee is just bitter water. I love that description. That's really funny.
I really hope it comes back, but it is kind of interesting while it's gone. I haven't tried anything weird. I saw like Hank Green had COVID. He's a YouTuber, and he tried some foods that he hates. And while he couldn't smell, and that was interesting to hear, like blue cheese and olives and something else. That was an interesting video. So, but I kind of like a lot of foods, so I couldn't think of anything that I wanted to try when I didn't have smell. Yeah,
that's fair. I guess this is a effective form of dieting. If you just can't smell foods, then they don't taste as interesting.
I have lost a lot of weight, yeah, but mostly because I feel like eating soup. Like I don't really feel like eating very much, not because of my smell, just because I felt gross. So yeah, I did lose weight, but
makes sense. I wish I also felt like the for a couple days or weeks afterwards, just sort of a general lethargy that I found myself feeling very frustrated in myself with, because I in general like to push myself towards like, all right, I can be doing more than this, and like I can be getting up earlier and I can be doing more things. And retrospectively, I think I'm a little too hard on myself in situations where I'm sick. Like, it's okay. I can take a few days and take it easy, and that's the best strategy long term. And I don't need to like feel guilty about not getting as much done on top of that because I had COVID, and like that's a big deal. And it's okay to take a few days off. And I think part of the reason that we're doing this sort of thing is that there's more flexibility in it to be able to take time off when you need to. So yeah, take it easy.
Yeah. I have given myself a lot of permission to take it easy. Yes, I did do some work though, so we can talk all about that.
Let's dive into that then. Let's
All right.
talk to me about AcornChat. I'd love to start with because I think you said you had some feature requests from users, which is a great sign of engagement that like people are using it enough to want it to be different.
I did. 2 users reached out for 2 different feature requests, so that's good. I have people actually wanting something. So yeah, one was actually really interesting. This is an interesting case study, and what they asked for is not actually what they are trying to do. It's just the bug that they noticed. So I noticed on this guy's site that it was placed in the center, whereas most of the time, it hard codes itself to the bottom right. So that was interesting. I was like, how do you do that? Turns out he was putting an iframe where he wanted it, where he wanted the thing to be, and that's how he was moving it to the center bottom of his like contact form or contact page. The bug he was seeing was that the iframe, because it was only like a partial window width, when the chat window opened, it was opening within that small iframe, and it was cut off. So it like wasn't dynamically resizing small enough. I had a minimum size basically, which I set to like I looked up like the smallest modern phone sizes and set it to smaller than that. So on normal pages, it will have no problem with its min width because even on tiny phones it should show up. But in his iframe was skinnier than that. So what he asked for was for it to dynamically resize to that iframe. But what he really wanted was for the thing to move to the center. And so so I think I'm going to do both of those things. Basically allow the little widget to move around, and then also dynamically resize it, because that seems like a good thing to do. That's an example of I did it the easy way first, which is fix with it, but now it should dynamically resize. So
cool.
So that was one of them. And then the other one was
really quick on that one. That's a really good. Yeah, I guess you said this already, but like figuring out the job to be done. Like the feature request that you got was, can you dynamically resize this in the iframe? But like digging a little deeper, the thing that he's actually trying to get done is to move it to the center. And yeah, that makes sense to have as a top level feature that just you have in your preference pane that you can change where it is. So. Yeah, really good example of like don't do what your customers ask you to do. Like you need to better understand it and check to make sure that like that's within your product scope. I could imagine a situation where maybe he was trying to do some sort of a weird integration with a third party thing, and that's why it needed to be in an iframe. And it would have been valuable to figure out like, oh, people are going to try to integrate it with this thing, and I should build a first party integration with that thing instead of what he's literally asking me for, which is to do the iframe. So yeah, you did the due diligence of that, and that's a really good case study.
Yep. And then someone else, they want to be able to pass logged in user information to the thing, so that because when it comes up now, it'll like say someone's chatting with you, but it doesn't have any information about who it is or anything like that. And so they want to like pass a user ID or a username or something, so that when they start chatting in Slack, it'll actually tell you who. It'll give you that information. So that is something that I wanted to do from the beginning, but I didn't because, MVP. And now someone's asking for it, so I will do it. It is reasonable, and I want to do it. And so, that's the second feature.
Cool.
And I wanted to do those last week. I sort of did a little bit, and then I ran out of steam. So
yeah, you got COVID, my dude. Like
I know, exactly.
It's fine.
Exactly. So this week I should do those things. Yep.
Cool. A few more questions on that, and then I'd love to dig into marketing stuff. How this sort of problem of like how a website can pass arbitrary data into a embedded plugin. I have this problem on FileInbox, and I have hacky ways of doing it, but none of them have quite clicked. Like you can pass it via the URL parameter, but then people have to know a certain amount of coding to be able to like dynamically insert the URL parameter. And so then I was thinking like, okay, well maybe my plugin can look for things on the page based on ID, and then when I'm, so maybe if the user ID is somewhere on the page, you just tell my plugin like this is where it is, and then look in that ID, and then it would be a little bit more no code. But I haven't quite grasped onto like a solution that feels good of how to do that. How are you thinking about that, Papa?
Yeah, so I was going to do the URL route. So I asked him, so I actually asked him over email, like, I suggested the URL route because it sounded like he just wanted to pass one piece of information. And so I think URL route is fine for that. And then the other way I thought to do it was give them another JavaScript snippet, or as part of the same, integrated snippet, and have some kind of globally unique variable. So like, AcornChat data equals object. And then I could read that in my script. So that was the other way I thought to do it.
That's clever. And then that's more flexible, like you could be doing it server side. Would that be reactive then, or would he have to have that initialized like as the plugin's loading?
You would have to have it initialized when the plugin's loading, unless my plugin got a lot more complicated. Yeah.
Maybe then just pass it via a data attribute, like in the script tag. How are you doing?
Oh, you could do that too. Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, it's a script tag, so yeah, a data attribute on the script tag actually would make just as much sense. Probably more sense.
Oh, I have a feature suggestion for you that I did accidentally on FileInbox that turned out to be super good for SEO, which is have your embed code be a link and the script tag, and then you replace the link with the iframe or whatever. And what that does is for SEO, now Google is seeing that you have all of these backlinks for every time you have the widget embedded, and then that boosts your SEO score. And then because you're controlling what people are copying and pasting, I'm not entirely sure how this works. You might have to talk to Jonathan Zacks, but like you can put whatever text you want in their link. So whatever search terms you want to show up for, like that's what you insert in the link. And then you could do something cheeky like have the text best live widget chat. That's the text of the link that then gets embedded in their site, and then you swap out the link so no one ever sees it with the embed. But I highly recommend you do that.
Interesting. I have a link that gets created by the JavaScript, which is not the same thing, and so it's interesting to think about it the other way. I didn't think about that. I'll look it up. Yeah.
I don't know if that would get picked up on Google. I think it's still pretty dumb with that sort of thing. That if it's dynamic content,
Yeah. So Google still Google does read JavaScript. I mean, it does, like with all the React pages and stuff. It will read them now, but for many reasons, it is often better to have like an actual link tag from the beginning without JavaScript. Yeah, but I don't know if you'd have to ask an SEO expert because I know Google can read the JavaScript, so I don't know if like they give you a better score if it's an actual hard-coded link that they don't need JavaScript for. I'm not sure.
Okay, it's a sort of black magic anyway. Like I don't know if we could test it. And I know that having the hard-coded link in there works. So that's my official suggestion. And then you can do whatever you want.
All right.
While we're on the topic, sort of segueing into SEO, which is one of the 19 marketing channels outlined by Attraction, my new favorite book. What is the marketing plan? So I know that like this is one of a number of things that you're doing right now, and you had COVID also, so like totally fine that not very much marketing stuff has gotten pushed forward, but like I would love to nudge you a little bit into just defining a plan of like how might you be pushing forward marketing. And have any ideas come to mind recently, or can we talk through like what would make sense?
Not really. Partially because I've had COVID, and partially because I just haven't thought about it. I should probably read Traction like you are. I have it as well, and so I should probably figure that out. I'm at a place where I know now, so I'm getting some traffic from the Slack App Store. I have some people actually asking for things, so I think the best thing I could do right now is engaging them, making them very happy, and then trying to figure out like how they actually found me and talk to them. So after I do these feature requests and I make them happy, then trying to get them on the phone, for example, might be a really good thing to do. So I think I'm still at the do things that don't scale phase of marketing. Like I don't think I'm ready for a bunch of ads or something yet.
Yep.
I think I need to highly engage my first few users is the best thing I could be doing, I think.
Yeah, I like that. I have a couple of ideas I'd love to just spitball with you.
Sure.
The first thing that comes to mind is you could be experimenting with paid ads for different SEO terms. So figure out like, Slack live chat app, if that's something getting any sort of targeting, like buy a month of Ahrefs and spend a few days going on a safari of like, what are the terms people are Googling for to get to Intercom is the main competitor. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what terms are they ranking for? Which of their terms would make sense for you to rank for? And then what happens if you buy ads? And then the system I think from Traction is like have enough analytics in place that you can see based on based on each of the search terms, how many customers did you get from that? And if that number makes sense but it doesn't make sense paying for the traffic, then you know that you can invest in that term for SEO. And if that never makes sense, and it even makes sense like paying for the cost per click, then you just dump money into that, and then that's like you found an engine to be able to grow the company. How does that SEO paid ad journey sound?
I feel like that is going for eyeballs when I'm not ready for it yet, although that it could also just be me making excuses. I at least need better analytics. I know this is something you've been searching for as well, but like, how do you actually track what people see and when they see it and when they convert? And because conversions, like they could see it once and then they could see the ad twice and then they could look for you in the Slack app store and then buy you. Like, how do you track that journey, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that's something we're both struggling with actually right now is tracking things like paid ads. It's hard.
Hearing you say that, the answer seems so obvious, which is just like have a field when they're filling out the form that's like, how did you hear about me? And if they say Google, like, and you know that month you had bought paid ads, you can be pretty confident. Like, if before you bought the paid ad, 5% of people said that they came from Google, and then after you bought the paid ad, 50% of people said they heard you through Google. You know that the people who heard you through Google came from the paid ad. So that's like good enough attribution that you can figure out that that's where they're coming from, especially if we're dealing in the smaller volume. I agree that it's a tricky problem with like trying to attribute them. Like if they click on the ad, they cost you money, but then if they go through the Slack App Store, you wouldn't necessarily be able to track them. And I imagine, I'm not sure what the Slack App Store looks like, but is that like in-app or you probably can't get analytics of like where they came from the Slack App Store?
So I can know if they clicked install in the Slack App Store.
Okay.
Because of how the sign up process works, but that's it. Other than that, like if they click on like view website or whatever, I can't tell like which page of the Slack App Store or whatever they clicked to view website. Like I can't, as far as I have seen, I don't know how to track that. Like the Slack App Store must set there no ref, like so that you can't tell.
But that's coming through the Slack App Store. So you know if people came directly through the Slack App Store. If someone go ahead.
There's two ways you can install something from the Slack App Store. You can click Add to Slack right in the app, the Slack App Store app, and I can tell when someone does that.
Okay.
But what most people do is they'll visit. It says Visit Developer Website is another button. You can click that and it just opens the website in Chrome or whatever.
Yep.
I can't tell, and then they sign up directly on your page.
Yes.
So I can like tell how many people signed up on my page and how many people signed up through the Slack App Store. What I can't tell is how many people clicked View Developer page and then signed up on my site.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a technical limit, or like right now you can't tell? Because I would imagine you can just see that through the refer.
Oh, well, that's what I think they're blocking the refer.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Can you change what link is the developer site? Could you send them to like a link with a URL parameter that shows that it was from the Slack App Store?
That's a really good idea.
Thank you. I'm full of them. That's why I'm here.
I can. I think just about any change you have to get reapproved, which is annoying. But so I think I could change that if I had a good reason for it, like a good enough reason to get it reapproved. So yes, if I made a page with better, like a dedicated landing page with like better verbiage about coming from the Slack App Store or something, and then changed it to that, yes, I think I could. That is a very good idea.
Could I ask you to just try just changing it and say that the reason is like you want better tracking? Because what's that going to take you, like 5 minutes? And you don't even need to like have a just have a URL parameter that's I use ref. I don't know if there's a standard. There's like UTM something that's used for Google Ads, but just add like $ref equals Slack, and then without even knowing how you're going to track that yet, submit that in 5 minutes, and then with whatever tracking tool you're going to use, know to pay attention to the ref, and then you'll know to attribute those people to the Slack store.
Yep. I'm surprised I did not think of that earlier, so that's great. Good job.
Sweet. And then
so actually, before I know why I didn't do that. It's because I thought I was going to be able to read the ref, but I can't.
Okay.
So I thought I was going to be able to read it. So.
Okay. And then for tracking people from coming from a Google ad, do you have tracking in place to be able to attribute those people?
I mean, those would. If I made it a click ad, then I for that I definitely would add a I would go to a dedicated page probably, or maybe just a URL parameter.
Okay.
So yeah, that I would be able to track. Yeah.
Okay. And then if someone clicked on your site through a Google ad,
Mm-hmm.
and then clicked on your site through a Google natural search result, and then went to the Slack App Store, and then clicked on it from the Slack App Store, and then clicked install, could you map all of those together?
Currently, no. Yeah.
Okay.
So I need better analytics before I do that. Yeah.
So do I.
Cookie
This is
analytics or
also
something.
something I can't do yet. This is why I'm building my own tool. Okay. Segmetrics by our friend Keith Perhack, who's in a bunch of the Bootstrapper groups. I think might be that. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna
right.
schedule a call with him and see if that'll get it done. But I've already like built out my schema for my table of how I'm gonna do this myself. So
Of course.
I think inevitably that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, cool. That was my first idea. Safari, but like the analytics I think needs to come first. But that sounds like it should be reasonably straightforward. Like in the worst case, in the short term, you're just going to be misattributing people that are coming to your site from multiple places. So as long as you can see like, someone came from a Google ad and then they clicked install and you can credit that towards the Google install, I think that's a worthwhile experiment to put a couple $100 into. Following the traction metrics, it should be a 1-month experiment that costs under $1,000. So you can bake some of your own time in there, I guess, and drop like $500 in ads and see what happens. My second idea is there something clever you could do with websites that already have one of these things installed, or websites that don't have one of them installed and should? So I'm thinking like you go to sites with intercom already installed and you send them a message like, hey, how's your intercom bill? Would you like to save some money? Although doing it based on pricing isn't great. Or going to websites that like should have live chat but have an email instead, and emailing them and having like a canned email template of like, hey, it'd be great if you could know that they use Slack also. I'm not sure how you could figure that out.
You can't.
Okay. If there was a clever way to get that, that'd be great. But the email that I would love to see sent out is like, hey, I noticed that you have email forms to contact people on your site. If you're using Slack, or ideally you already know they're using Slack, and you'd be like, I also see you're using Slack, and having a widget in the bottom where people can live chat converts this many times better and is a much better user experience. You can schedule a call with me, or you can click this button to try it out, and it's free for 30 days. Am I ringing any bells there? Does any of that sound good?
Yeah. So if they don't have anything, then sending them an email, I think that'd be okay. Like I could try that, although it's probably extremely like, I guess I could hire a VA or something to go, get a bunch of people, or I could do it myself for a while. Responding to people's intercom and saying like, hey, how's your intercom bill? That's the kind of thing that probably does work, but I really don't want to do.
I feel
like,
that. It felt gross saying it out loud.
Yeah, exactly. So like that probably would work really well. And I just don't want to do it.
Yeah,
So I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I feel that.
But
and I think from how my understanding of your positioning is that like Intercom's customers are not your customers. People using Intercom
they're
are
different.
much more corporate, much bigger, paying a lot more money. You're looking for more like, I think your customers right now are not using any sort of live chat, and they're not doing it because they don't want to have anything else installed. They're already using Slack, and they have just like a contact me button with an email address on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's a way that you can just like scrape the internet for who your ideal customer is. Do you have for the two people who emailed you for feature requests, do they have any sort of thing in common of like their industry or?
No, they're totally different.
Okay.
One owns a store, e-commerce store,
Okay.
and the other one is like an agency or something.
Okay. Two very promising verticals. E-commerce is super easy to get in contact with. So is this website like on Shopify or WooCommerce or something?
I don't know what is backing it.
Okay.
It looks like templatey, so I imagine it's something. But I could probably figure out how to tell.
Okay.
Probably if you inspect the CSS, I bet you could see like Woo or Shop or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's traction channel number 2 that I would experiment with is like figure out how to find, 50 sites like his that have an email address but no live chat, and then have a templated email. And you do it at first, do 10 of them or whatever, just to see if it works. And if you can convert one person from it, then great. You can hire someone in the Philippines to just like do the basic customization. And I found out, so I'm paying Rachel, my personal assistant, something like, I think it's $650 a month for 1 hour every weekday. And I was talking to my friend Trig the other day, who also has a assistant out of the Philippines, and he was saying he pays about the same amount for 30 hours a week. So I'm getting 5 hours a week and he's getting 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
And he was like, this person's English isn't as good, so I wouldn't want them to do anything customer facing. But for something like, this is the basic template, copy and paste their name from here, find a list of URLs that match this criteria. You can even tell them, like, go out and search for sites that are of this type. And then let me set you up with the email account and, just you manually fill in the template. To have a human do that is surprisingly inexpensive. This would comfortably fit in the under $1,000 experiment category. How does that sound?
Yeah, I've heard that too. If you don't mind English as a second language and the time zone issue, then hiring. I've heard the Philippines as well. Like they actually speak really good English, and so that's not that much of an issue even. So yeah, I've heard that as a good option. Yeah.
Cool. Is that an experiment that does that sound like a thing you could do?
So yeah, but not right now. I think I'd rather spend my time now fixing it, like making the 2 customers I do have really happy.
Okay.
I think that is a better use of my time in the short term. Longer term, yeah, I could see that as a thing.
Okay. I'm gonna be just a little more pushy.
I can sense that.
That's my job. The main takeaway that I've had from Traction is, like, you need to be spending half your time from the beginning on marketing, and we've logged a lot of hours in development, and I know that's what we both like so much more. It's so much better. You have a product.
Whole week writing.
Your product works. People are using it. People are this is live on people's sites. You have a way that people can spend you that people can send you money. Like, the product is good enough to be sending people through, and the more people that you can get trickling in, the better directed your product is going to be. If you get too hyper-focused on just these 2 customers, I think it'd be a little easy to lose your way and just start consulting for these 2 people for whatever, $30 a month. So, get the entire engine running and start having people trickle in, and that's also going to inform product decisions. So I would love if you could do something in marketing in parallel.
So yes, I agree. When I say focus on these 2 people, like, even with COVID, it'll probably take me under a week to do both of these things very well. And so that's the kind of, and so that's the other thing is, like, my brain right now is not working well.
Yeah.
So I like having a smaller focus than a broader marketing thing, which is more excuses. I can hear people yelling at me. But
that's
I'm
totally
COVID.
Fair. Shut up. What about, like, so going on a Ahrefs Safari is something that I've also been meaning to do. What if we split for the month a Ahrefs subscription, and then you can go on a Safari and that's just clicking around. That's not doing anything. That's just you can be in bed. You can be searching, like, intercom.com. Oh, let me see what terms they're ranking for. Oh, that's interesting. You don't have to write any ads. You don't have to buy anything. You're just gonna, like, get a better idea, do more research, and it's so, like, of anything in marketing, SEO feels the most like coding to me, because it's all numbers and it's all just, like, statistics, and it's all like it's like a graph web of the collective consciousness of what they're trying to figure out, the questions everyone in the world is asking. You get to see that data, and they have an API if you wanted to, like, make some sort of an automated tool. Like, it's that feels a lot like coding, but it still counts as marketing.
Yeah. Have you seen? There's it doesn't give you traffic numbers like Ahrefs does, but just hearing you talk about that, there's a site that you can say, like, how do I, and then a word, and then it'll give you all the different all the different, like, questions people ask about that word. So it's like Ahrefs. But when you're talking about, like, this is a snapshot into what people are asking, that's exactly what it does, and it has, like, a really neat. And now I can't think of the name of the website, and so. But if you search for something like that, there are free sites that do that too, and it's
You're
it's very.
You're not talking about just, like, Google autocomplete.
No. It makes this different. It produces like 1,000 different questions, like in the how do I and why do I and when do I or whatever, and then it maps them in a web for, like, how they're connected. That's really cool, and I can't think of the name of it.
We will include it in the show notes if we can dig that up. Does that sort of Ahrefs journey sound like a thing that would be feasible in your current, like, reduced capacity state of recovering from COVID?
Probably.
Okay, I'll take it. Probably. I'll take what I can get. Cool. By the way, like, I'm pushing you. I have done nothing in marketing since we last talked. Like,
what have you done?
Nothing. I'm pushing you, so you'll push me back.
All right.
Yeah. But before that, I don't think we've talked about. Anything else on AcornChat
No, I don't.
Okay. You have an exciting announcement on your GPS competition.
Yeah,
How'd you do?
we got gold.
Hey,
Yeah,
congratulations.
so which gold does not mean first. It means approximately top 1%. Actually, it was like 1.8% or something this time. Yeah, so we got, it was 10th place for a little bit, or it was 11th place, and then 10th place, and then 11th place. So it bounces around a little as they finalize. This is actually the first time. So they remove people who they suspect of cheating. And so we were 11th, and then they removed someone, so we went up to 10th. And then they added them back. So I guess they proved that they didn't cheat. So that's the first time I remember that happening. But yeah, so we got 11th, which was the very bottom gold medal in that competition. But that's all right. It's a gold.
It's still a gold.
So yeah, so that was exciting.
Do you know what they call the person who graduates at the bottom of their medical class?
Doctor. Yeah.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Yes. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You need 2 more golds to be a grandmaster.
Yeah, 2 more to be a grandmaster. Yep.
And both of those can be on teams.
Yep.
Cool. You're inching towards it. Any recent Kaggle stuff catch your attention?
There's actually a lot of competitions open right now. Some of them are closing soon, and so I don't like joining competitions that are closing soon because you just don't have time to do very well or get into it at all. And some of the other ones are interesting-ish, but they're really interesting. A couple of them are like they have 400 gigabytes of data, and so I'm like, do I really want to like mess around? Because like 400 gigabytes of data, you do anything, it takes forever. But I might join a couple of those. They're really interesting. They're so they have so much data because they're medical imaging stuff and like 3D medical imaging scans, which is pretty cool. Like one is like detecting fractures in a spine based on a MRI, I think. And yeah, so there's a couple. I haven't fully dug into any of them though. Yeah.
Okay, cool. The imaging for detecting fractures in the spine is very close to what a company that Sarah was working for used to do, and that's cool. The image recognition for interpreting medical data. That's wild stuff. That's gonna it's gonna be very unusual. I feel like when I'm telling my kids about like, oh yeah, you used to have a radiologist person specialized in looking at these images, they would just by hand find these things. They're gonna be like, what are you talking about? I just have this on my phone now. It just scans it and interprets it or something. Cool. Congratulations. That's very exciting. 2 more to Grandmaster. And it's work that you really enjoy that you get fulfillment out of. We talked about AcornChat. We talked about COVID. We talked about Golden GPS. I think that those were all my notes for you for this week.
Yeah, I think so. Kids go back to school this week, so that's why we tested them and they're negative. So that's great. As long as they don't show symptoms, we'll send them back to school. So that's good. That's it. Yep.
Sweet. For anyone watching this on video or noticing the sound of trees rustling in the background, if you're just on audio, I am in the woods on my parents' property. This is Jenko Village, which I've talked about in previous episodes. This is a property that's been in my family for, I think, 4 generations. My grandparents originally bought it. There was some rough stuff happening in their neighborhood in Manhattan, and they were like, we got to get our kids out of here and like have a place that we can go to if things go bad. So they bought an old resort in upstate New York. And so my dad and his whole generation grew up like spending the entire summer here, and the dads would come up on the weekends and they just had a blast. And there's like a basketball court and a swimming pool and 200 acres of woods, and it's a really cool place. And my parents recently bought it, and we had our family reunion 2 days ago, and that was just like one of the coolest days of my life. It was so much fun. Like it's my dad's generation grew up with all of his cousins. And then some second cousins. And so all of those people have since had kids that are about my age. And so now all those people are starting to have kids. So it's just like, and I was amazed. Like, I grew up knowing almost all of my second cousins on my dad's side. And like, all those people are here now. They all have jobs. And I found out one of them's like a reporter. And I was like, I just read this book about how I can contact reporters. And she was like, oh yeah, I get these things all the time that say like exclusive, and it's not really an exclusive. It's like a cliche now. And I was like, oh no, that's what my book recommended. You say in the email that like, you say it's an exclusive. So yeah, it's really fun and great to like be up here and have those connections, and lots of manual work of like, one of my dad's cousins brought up their Sprinter van, and we got to like MacGyver trying to hook it up to our electrical system, and we got it working, and it was a lot of fun. So I've been spending a lot more of my time doing that sort of thing, and a lot less of my time like doing work. Oh, driving also. This is a cool thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
We drove 26 hours from Dallas to New York, and over like 2.5 days. And my hands were physically touching the steering wheel about an hour and 20 minutes of that 26-hour drive. And that was not my Tesla. That was the Comma, this third-party system that you just plug into any car with adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist. And it just drove, and it was great. Like, I have gotten comfortable enough with the system that I can tell, like, the sort of situation where it's going to mess up. Like, you know, if there's a lot of traffic cones coming up, I know that it's not going to handle that well, so I would take over. And, you know, if it pays a lot of attention to the lane lines, so, like, if construction had us splitting the lane and the lane line was going, like, underneath the car, it wouldn't be able to handle that, so I did that. And the Comma can't handle stoplights or stop signs yet, so anytime we were, like, in a town, I would do that. And the Comma's not as good at figuring out speed limits. So, but like, you know, in an hour, I might just make like 3 adjustments. It felt like piloting instead of driving. I'm just saying like, oh, well, you know, speed limit went up. Let me just hit this button and do the speed limit up. But such a tangible, like, I'm trusting my life to this machine learning system. That, like, what fantastic proof that this stuff works. It drove me all the way from Dallas to New York. It was amazing. And I think that's really cool. And the category of work that you're doing in machine learning is very neat and helped me not have to drive to New York. Felt very refreshing.
Cool. Yeah, that's neat. Is this what version of the Comma AI is it? Is it the latest version? Or?
The Comma 3, I think. It's the one that's not. It's not just a cell phone with a 3D printed case. It's like
it's a
injection
dedicated
molded thing. Yeah. And there's 2 cameras in the front and then 1 fisheye in the back. So theoretically, I was thinking, like, there's no way that this could beat the Tesla because the Tesla has cameras all over. But the Comma has a fisheye lens pointed towards the inside that can also see out of the windows and the back window, which, like, that's a better view than I have in the driver's seat, and I'm able to drive a car. So I think there's a chance that this could... I don't think it's going to beat the Tesla. I think that the Tesla's really far ahead in terms of, like, what it can do and the intelligence that it has. But, like, I think it's going to be right on its heels. I haven't seen any other system that comes close to this. As far as I know, it's Tesla's autopilot, and then it's Comma AI.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you have Waymo, which is doing driverless already, fully driverless in cities.
But
and then
that's with, like, really accurate GPS data and
and
LiDAR.
Yes.
Yeah. And Elon Musk famously said LiDAR is a fool's errand. And,
yes, I heard that.
Yeah, and I agree with him.
And then you have Cruise as well with GM.
Oh, Cruise, you're right.
Pretty far ahead.
Is Cruise vision based, or is that LiDAR?
It used to be LiDAR based. I don't know what they're doing now.
Okay. They're going after more of the robotaxi thing. I think they're not.
Waymo's going after robotaxi. Cruise, I don't know. I thought they were trying to integrate into GM's car lineup, but I could be wrong.
That's interesting. Okay, I don't have experience with GM or like I haven't ridden in a Waymo car. Waymo, I guess, though, they have the pilot program in somewhere in Arizona. Is that right? Where they're, like, operating this as a taxi service? Yeah.
Yeah, fully autonomous now. They got approval to do that. Yeah.
Amazing. Man, what a future. This is so exciting. I remember a conversation I had with my grandfather where he was like, oh, yeah, you know, I can't drive anymore and this sucks. And I was like, well, you know, self-driving cars are coming out pretty soon. And he was like, not before I'm dead. And I was like, you want to bet? Like, I'm pretty sure they will be. And then last year I drove a Tesla up to his house and I was like, Grandpa, like, I have in the driveway, like, a car that can drive itself. And he was like, oh yeah, we had that when I was young. We called it a trolley. And I was like, no, but you told me it wasn't going to be around before you died. Like, it's here and you're still alive. And he was like, I never said that. And I was like, all right, fine, Grandpa. And I apologize to listeners. There's a minor construction project happening in the background. Cool. Several other, like, personal updates. Sarah and I forged our wedding rings in upstate. I had the whole setup I brought up here, and Sarah designed the rings, and we cast them in gold. So we're going to get married later this month. Just
very
a
exciting.
very small ceremony. Yeah, with parents and siblings, and then we're going to do, like, some sort of wedding reception next summer. But, like, we'll be officially married at the end of this month. So that's very fun. Talked about the family reunion. Okay. One thing I think I just want your hot take on, because this is a project that got pushed forward. I think I told you before about this idea I have for sending people weird birthday cards, like, you know, happy second birthday on Mars. Mars has a different orbital period. I'm not sure what the term is. It takes longer for Mars to rotate the sun around the sun than it does for Earth, and every planet has their own period. So, like, your birthday on Mars is, you're like 2/3 as old as you are on Earth, and it happens on weird days that you wouldn't expect because Mars has a different calendar, and also like 10,000 days old, or like as old as George Washington was when he became president. And it's sort of just a project I've been kicking around, but a listener of this podcast actually connected me with a artist in the UK named Rob Middleton, who draws like the exact thing that I'm going for, like a cartoony thing.
Cool.
That's like sort of greeting cardy based. And I got really excited about, not GPT-3, DALL-E, because that seemed like the way that I was going to get this done, that like I could start just entering text prompts and have the art made. But it's still an artistic process. Like it's so much more feasible for me to do that now, but like it takes work for me to be able to get images that are good. Versus talking to a human artist, like he just sent me a few of them off the bat. That he was like, birthday on Mars, how about this? And it was perfect. It was like a Martian on Mars, and it was perfect. So I'm trying to think about, I just had the call with him a couple hours ago, and we're trying to think about like a revenue model that would make sense. And I think the one that is currently making the most sense to me is if I made a site that was like an Etsy for visual artists, that like Rob can make whatever graphics he wants for whatever cards, and then he says, show this card to people at this interval based on their birthday. He puts the math in there, and then when someone lands on the site and enters their birthday, they can see, next month is this person's third birthday on Mars, and so here are some example cards that you can send them. And then if they click on one that Rob made and buy it through the site, now I give him a commission, and then he can set the price of his cards. What's your hot take on that as a model?
Interesting. I mean, it's neat if to enable people to make money. I mean, you have all the problems that marketplaces have now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would go read some accounts of people who create either marketplaces or like e-card. Like I know like Andrew Warner of Mixergy like made a bunch of money selling an e-card site. Maybe you can find like his account of building that. That's what I would do. Yeah. It may or may not be a good idea. I don't know, but I'm sure there are dragons that you're not thinking about. So I would go read about some people who have done it and try to find the dragons before they're there. Yeah.
Until you pointed out this was a marketplace, I did not consciously register that would be a marketplace, and that's like a thing you shouldn't do.
Yeah, it's totally a marketplace.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would be, wouldn't it? I think I wasn't framing it that way because like just working with like Rob making the initial set of 20 of them would be enough to have a functional site that I think people would use. Like, that covers all the planets, that covers weeks, and that covers interesting days of being alive. And then I think I would just, like, if any other artist wanted to list their things on it, I'd be like, yeah, sure, let me make you an account and you can do it. But, like, it could be sustainable just on Rob and just based on me, like, throwing things up there from GPT-3.
Yeah. Okay, so that I like. Yeah, starting not as a marketplace, but starting as, like, even if you pay Rob or you pay Rob half and then, like, the commission is half or whatever, like, I don't know what, or the commission wouldn't be half, but whatever. So like even if it's like a mixed paid commission model at the beginning, I like that a lot better than thinking about it like a marketplace. So good. I'm glad you had a plan that even if it fails to be a marketplace would still work. I think that's good. Yeah.
On the topic of commission, I have no idea what a good commission would be. Like I'm familiar with the App Store model of that Apple takes 30%. I know that I'll have to at least cover the cost of sending the card through Lob, which is I think under $1. And then I was thinking roughly a price point of how much are cards? I don't know, $5 to have it like shipped feels about right. And write your own custom message. I don't know what the split though would be between the artist and me.
There are sites that do this, so I would go look at the competition to get a feel first, because I don't know either. I have no idea. I would look at what other sites already do, and you'll probably find a pretty standard term. Yeah.
Okay, I'll look at that.
Also, if you do this, be very careful with terms. Either get a lawyer to look at it or find something that you feel like is adaptable or something.
Yeah. Terms for like who owns the art.
Who owns the art? Who has the right to do what? All that. Okay. And
Okay. Still a side project, still a distraction. But it'd be cool. I'd like to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then go ahead.
I was gonna say with one artist, like even like terms, I would be careful with terms still, but you probably don't need a lawyer. You can be like, we have the mutual understanding that whatever, and like that's probably enough. For one artist. Yeah, but if you start getting more than one, then that's when I would think about it more carefully. Yeah.
Okay. And like when it gets over any sort of considerable volume, like I don't expect this to be making any kind of money for a long time.
yeah. That's the other thing is how do you actually plan to drive traffic? I don't know if that's what you're going to talk about next or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk through like the traction plan for it. How? So, I think the customer for this. I think this would be a fun sort of like customer-facing thing of, like, I want to use it to send cards to my friends, and I could see this being a fun thing that pops up on Reddit or Hacker News or something. But I don't know that market would be sustainable. Like, I don't want to be in the B2C space of competing with Hallmark or something. I think where the money is in this project, I think this was your idea actually, one of the first times that I talked about it, of like finding a business that wants to use mailers as a marketing channel. So people like real estate agents.
I think real estate agents was mine, yeah.
Because then, real estate agents love keeping in contact with people. That's like one of the things in the real estate course. They talk about how you need to stay in contact with people, so because you never know when they're going to sell their house, and you want to be top of mind and a person who they trust who's in the neighborhood. So if I go to real estate agents and I'm like, hey, here's an opportunity for you to be sending custom personalized things to people in your neighborhood that are going to delight them, that like every time I've told someone like, hey, you're 15,000 days old, happy birthday. They're like, whoa, I didn't know that. That's the day is so much more special for them. For a real estate agent to be able to do that for people to send them cards like that, I think that's like a thing that people would be happy to get, and then is an excuse for the real estate agent to be in higher contact with the person. So everybody's happy.
In that case, you'll almost certainly get the request that, especially for real estate agents, they'll probably want to include like their card or a magnet or something like that. So if you're actually sending a physical thing, then that could be an upsell to like, if you give me a digital file, I will include a card or a flyer or whatever as well.
That's harder for me. I'm not sure how I would do that off the bat
because you're doing it through Lob, yeah.
I'm just doing it through Lob, which just sends postcards. What might be on the postcard that like the postcard itself would be the thing that they would want to hang on the fridge? Like if you got a postcard that said, you're 15 years old on Mars today on this date, and your name is on it.
And as long as it said from your friends at whatever realty,
Right.
Yeah.
Is that something you would hang up or display or like?
I think a lot of people might, yeah. Some people might cut off the from your friends at and then hang it up.
Yeah.
The other thing I just thought of was, so the other companies that send me stuff are like my dentist and my doctor both send me birthday emails. And so I thought you could have like happy birthday on Mars with a bunch of teeth, and that could be like for dentists. So you could have like themed happy birthday cards.
Yeah. We make the cards for a specific vertical. So we have like the pack of, you're a dentist. You probably want to send people, all of your thing will have teeth in them.
Right.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Two of my uncles are dentists, so I could talk to them about this if that's like a thing they would want to do. I like that as a product so much better too, because like that's like real estate agents and dentists are going to be uploading a spreadsheet of people, and then I just say, for a customer, this would cost $5 per address, but because you're doing it in bulk, I'm only going to charge you $3 a mailer, and I'll take care of all the sending. And you can decide how often you want to send someone a card. Do you want to send someone a card like every week, because we have enough events filled in that like we could send them something every week, or do you want to send them something like every 3 months? We can, you can pick the things that you want to do, or if you have a custom thing, or if you want to like commission art from us. And now that's like part of the marketing budget for a business, and now this becomes something that like is making real money.
I like that. And at commissioning, when you said that, that's a huge way to get artists involved, because so if you say, as an artist you make a pack, and if a company buys your pack, then you make 50 cents every time it can send out or whatever. But if they commission from you, then I will put you in contact directly, and then you negotiate your price or whatever. I bet a lot of artists would be interested in that.
I like that. And then I think I don't even want to cut of that commission, because I think I just
I
connect
wouldn't.
them, and then it's going to be on my platform anyway. they're like getting this all set up is a pain in the ass, like with the
Yeah.
timing of so the artist and the business aren't gonna go outside of my platform to set this up on their own. Yeah, so I think I just have like a job board of artists with example pieces, and that's fun. It's fun too because like I'm supporting the arts, and like I want more art in the world, and this is the way that artists can make money. The person I talked to today, Rob, was saying that he is a retired teacher, and he's like transitioning to art. He wants to do more art full time, and so I found myself in this position of like I'm working on a thing that is going to enable you to be able to do the thing that you want to be doing, that you'd rather be doing. Like, that feels really cool. Like, good. I want more people to be doing the thing that they like doing. And this is just a dude who like really likes making art. So yeah, I like him a lot. Cool. Any other thoughts on?
I bet you could also get artists who want to contact their mailing list. So like with their art on the thing. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It would have to be probably slightly higher end art. So like people with, it has to be people with higher end art, but whose customers still would like silly birthday cards, which might be a pretty small sliver. I don't know, maybe not, but yeah.
That's very interesting. I don't know if I like it, and I'm not sure I can say why. I think because, well, okay, no, here's how I think I would handle that use case is like anyone can sign up for one of these corporate plans where you can pick a pack and be sending it to people. So maybe I say like, if you uploaded the pack yourself, you don't have to pay any, like, you get that pack for free. So you just have to pay the base level. So like, if you're an artist, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. If you're an artist and you uploaded your own pack, you can send that pack to your own audience basically at cost. And I might take like $1, I don't know, or something.
Yeah.
I just want to be covering like the Stripe fees and the lob fees. And then I would love for that to happen as much as possible, because now like the artist is going to be sending it out to their audience, and then maybe a member of their audience sees that it was like made on my site, which doesn't have a name yet.
Yeah. I was going to say this is like the perfect example of super viral product itself. And so because it's being sent out. And so definitely make sure you have your URL on there, and definitely make it rememberable. Whatever it is, make it a .com. Yeah. I know you like .apps and stuff, but make it a .com. Okay. And make it short and memorable. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a suggestion for a name? Weird Birthdays.
I have no idea.
It's my
use lean domain search .com, I think. That is my example. Or Namecheap has a pretty good Namecheap's something Zilla, or I don't know. It has it tries to use AI to find a variety of things. Cool. I also have a list of all the .com names that exist, and so if you wanted to write a thing that would check if something existed or not, I can. Let's see. Technically, I can't hook you up. We'll work something out. The terms of service forbid me from sending you the file, but we'll figure it out.
I actually, since we talked about this, I saw a post on Hacker News about Derek Sivers posted like instructions for how to do this. And so then coming from you and then from him, I was like, all right, let me just go ahead and sign up for it. So I also have it. So
great. Okay,
I have it without breaking their terms of service. So fantastic. Funny. Like, why isn't it just an API? I don't understand.
Because people make money by having it exist.
I didn't pay any money though. You just sign up for it and you just get it. It just takes like 4 days.
That's true, but you can pay them money for certain things, as far as I understand, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so.
It doesn't make sense to me. Cool. Okay, I'll go on a hunt for a good domain name. If it's something that I want to ultimately to appeal to like dentists and real estate agents who would be looking at this as a form of like direct mailer marketing, I guess I would want to use one of those sorts of terms. Like it's a direct weird birthday mailer marketing tool.
I mean, something like Weird Birthdays is fine too. Like I think that's okay. Like it's silly and playful, so it can have a slightly silly name. I think that's okay. But I'd make it a .com. So, yeah.
Let me just check really quick if weirdbirthdays.com is available, because if it is,
suspect it's not.
I have had several times where I've gone on Google Domains to search for a domain name like this, and it's told me I already own the domain.
I know. I have had that happen once, and I was like, oh, funny that.
Weirdbirthdays.com is available for $12 a year. Can I buy it?
Do it.
Birthdays or birthday?
Both if you can, but birthday. I would buy both if they're available. Are they both available?
.com. Weirdbirthday.com is not available. What's at weirdbirthday.com? Weirdbirthday.com cannot be reached.
Okay, so weird
Is that
birthdays
okay?
is probably fine. Yeah.
Weirdbirthdays.com. All right.
I'm also looking on lean domain search for birthdays. There's some interesting one. Yes, birthdays.
Yesbirthdays.com.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Try birthdays. Ink birthdays. I don't know. Club birthdays. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, yeah. All right.
Last thing I wanted to talk about is FileInbox. I left it to the end because there's not very much to say. I have mostly ironed out the Dropbox file transmitting integration. I have one more little thing to do on that, which is templating the folder names for the page, but I know exactly how I'm going to do that. So like, I'm over the hump of complexity. Like, I have figured out the hard parts of this. We're coasting downhill on this serverless transition. A little spooky because like we're putting real people on it now. The very next step for me is to do that one more feature, and then there's a customer I have who was wanting a feature that's now included in this, which is including all the formatted data in the emails. So I think I reach out to him and get him onboarded, and then I'll need to like automatically redirect his old page to his new page, which should be pretty easy. And then I think I just keep chipping away at like trying to bring more people on FileInbox to the FileInbox.app. And then I've talked through this plan so many times, but it helps me to just talk through it one more time.
Yeah.
And then once I have a critical mass of people, and I'm like, okay, every person I'm reaching out to in FileInbox, I don't need to implement any new features, and like this could be happening automatically. Then I think I bring everyone over, and then I keep both apps running for a little bit of time, and then I make the .com point to .app, but I still keep the Rails online just in case. And then there's going to be a day where I shut down the Rails version, and that's going to feel official to me. Like, that's the day to celebrate. When I shut down that app, that's like, whoa, I did it. We are transitioned. But the transition has started, and that's very exciting. And then I cleaned up a few more bugs for Brian Richards, making sure that he can start collecting videos from people in September. The process of recording video from like with these new web APIs to like record stuff in the screen and the camera, really buggy. Like there's so many edge cases. There's so many ways that it can fail. There's so many things you need to handle, but that's just one thing at a time. I'm just blocking it out and fixing it and building that moat, to use your terms. So we're getting there. We're building something really cool, and I am so proud of this as a product. Like, this is the coolest thing I've ever made, and it's the culmination of like 8 years of thinking about this problem. So I'm going to be very happy when it fully ships.
Cool. Yeah, building the moat, which I think I got from the Art of Product podcast, which I think they got from somewhere else. But yeah, every time you do something hard, it makes it harder for someone to come up after you and do it. So, yeah, good.
I love that for me. Chris, that's all I got.
That's all I got too.
Then I'll see you next week. Goodbye.